Hello, hi, my name is Shihui, and today I want to share my coming out story. I am of Chinese Malaysian descent. I've been in Australia for about 16 years now. I came when I was 17, and I grew up in a heavily Chinese influenced culture. I was 14 when I first thinking that maybe I'm not straight. I kissed a girl, and I was really confused. I didn't tell my mum about it at that time, but I told my friends, which I was lucky enough to have friends who didn't think that I was weird. And I went to look for books. So I was lucky enough to find a book called a Taiwanese self-help book for teenagers. And there was a brief chapter on sexuality. And what I learned in that I might be a minority, but being gay is normal. So I kept that information with me actually. My mom kind of knew a little bit of things were up. She actually accidentally, well, not accidentally, she read my letter that I wrote to that girl. And she said to me, what you write to this friend and who you are to this friend is wrong. I was actually angry at her because she invaded my privacy in reading my letter, but I couldn't really be angry at her because apparently I was more wrong. Anyway, I just kept that to a secret. I didn't talk a lot about it. And fast forward, I moved to Australia. When I started my uni studies, I started basically every night. This is my gay online, my 10 years of being gay online. What that looks like is that I browse every website that talks about LGBTQI people. I read every books about sexuality. I watch every lesbian movies. I follow lesbian YouTubers. I was watching L Word a lot. And I was just having this virtual life of being gay. And it was good in the sense that I started to be able to imagine how being gay is like, how living open and authentic is possible. But the downside to that is that it was all virtual. So on daytime I'll be studying and all those stuff, but nighttime this is what I do. When I finish my exams though, I realized that there was this underlying sense of suffocation. And I realized that this is because on the outside, life looks good. Like I finished my exams, I was working, exams of my final exams of my career. I mean, I was working, I'm a doctor, I have a car, I have close friends, I travel around the world, all those things. On the outside, life looks good, but on the inside, I was lonely. I feel lonely. I feel like I wasn't living my life. Really, I wanted to meet girls. I wanted to, have a group of gay friends. I want to be in a relationship. I always wanted to have a kid, for example, with a female partner. And I wasn't doing that at all. So I thought, you know what, there's this big contrast. I was open and out to all my friends. I was open and out at my workplace. But but I wasn't out at all to my parents who, they were the closest people in my life. And it's just kind of, it just doesn't sit right with me at that time. I told myself I need to come out to my mum. Around the same time, that was when I decided to actually seek some gay friendships from lesbian women. So I went to meet up groups, and participated in social events and met my partner Gali at that time. My parents kind of knew what was going on. I was not home a lot. I was on the phone secretly a lot. So they probably knew that I was dating someone. They also knew that I was gay in the sense that, I haven't really dated any much guys. I only briefly dated a guy once. So they and I was always a bit tomboyish. So they kind of know. We just never talked about it. And essentially, this is what I did. I bit the bullet, and I sat them down one day after dinner, and I told them that I'm gay. I explained what it means and all that. I encouraged them to give me questions, but it just went really bad. Like everyone was angry, they were emotional. My mum in particular was very emotional. There were harsh words being thrown around. It wasn't a good experience. And very shortly after, I actually moved out. Now that decision was a big decision. It's the biggest leap into the unknown for me. That decision was suggested by Gali at that time. We were dating for about a month, and she said to me, "Look, if you want to be in this relationship and continue this further, you need to move out." I said, "What do you mean?" I was 29 at that time. I was living with my parents, but I act like I was 14 years old. I acted like I was 14 years old. If my mum was in a shitty mood that day, I would say to Gali, "No, I can't come and hang out with you now because my mum is in a bad mood. I don't want to shake the boat. Um, I was like that. Like it's not that they were overtly controlling me as such about this. It was just that I didn't want to disappoint her. I didn't want to create conflict, that kind of stuff. So I move out. The next day, I sneak back into the house after work, and I just pack my stuff and I move out. That I always make decisions discussing with my parents. That decision I did not, and I was blasted by everyone in my life. Like I grew up. This is a Chinese culture, right? Like a Chinese background. I mean, I grew up. Everyone tells me that you need to obey what your parents tell you, your elders tell you, ask you to do. Don't you need to honor them. You being disrespectful if you don't understand what they want you to do and don't follow what they want you to do. And this concept permeates all my life growing up, because this concept comes from filial piety, which is 孝顺 in Mandarin. It's a 3,000-year-old concept that comes from Confucianism, which is this guy who basically created all this philosophy that all the Chinese follow. So it's very ingrained in my culture, right? The teachers, my siblings, my extended family, everyone, even some of my friends would tell me, what you did was wrong. You shouldn't. They said, what? We were rocking. I was rocking the boat, right? But that decision was made not because I wanted to rock the boat. That decision was made because I'm sick of living in the past. I'm sick of living on a virtual world. I want to now fight for the next 50 years of my life. I don't know at that time whether that relationship would work, but I want to give that a full go and give my life a full go to the next 50 years of my life, rather than living in the past and living virtually. That was the decision behind that. We kept in touch, like me and my parents. We still kept in touch. We had a lot of difficult conversation, but what brought us back together was love, as cliche as it sounds. At one stage, even when she was really emotional, she said to me, "You're my daughter." She said, "You're my daughter. I don't know how to disown you. I don't know how to disown you. You're my daughter. You're always going to be my daughter." In that moment, I really understood her love for me. She, throughout the years, seeks solace in Buddhism, and she get to know Buddhism in a completely different way, and that was how she overcome some of the emotional turbulence that she experienced. I get some psychology counseling and things like that, and really started to live my life being authentic, being out, and my life are more aligned, and that was great. And my mom only started accepting me and my partner Gali when I was pregnant. But at that time, true to her word, when she started accepting, that's it, Gali's family. She's never been bad to her, and I'm really grateful for how my parents grew from that experiences, and how me as a person grew as well. And with the support of Gali, that she made a big difference in my life. Now we are out to everyone. We're a rainbow family of me and my partner. We have a 2-year-old son, Gabriel, and we have our Daphne. Daphne's our dog. We're out to everyone. I'm out to my extended family. My parents had the courage to come out to their family as well. We created language around our rainbow family, and I guess this is what I want to emphasize as well. The coming out experience may be very different for LGBT people coming from a culturally and linguistically diverse background, multicultural background, because coming out in itself is hard, right? Like a lot of us carry the shame of, being gay, um, being different, and a lot of the internalized homophobia. The irony of my experience was that I actually didn't carry that much shame around being gay. The shame that I carry was dishonoring my family. That was the shame. That was the shame that actually stopped me from living my life for many, many years. And I think this is the additional complexity for LGBT people with that culturally and linguistically diverse background. There's the additional level. Like, often we don't have the language to even talk about what being gay means. We don't see visibility on TV, on books, on media. We're always taught that we're wrong. In some countries it's punishable by law. It's a crime still in many, many countries. Same-sex marriage is not legal in most of the Asian countries besides Taiwan recently. We could never, like, I certainly, without coming to Australia and being gay online for that 10 years, I would have never imagined that life for myself. If I'm still in Malaysia, I wouldn't have. And this is why I want to share my story. I want to tell you that it is possible. It is possible, and you're worth it. You're worth it to have love in your life, to live a life open, full of authenticity, in line in every part of your life, and happy. You can imagine life to be whatever way that you want it to be. If you want to have a kid, go have a kid. If you don't want to have a child, great, that's fine too. It is possible. It is possible. And I hope that this would give you, I guess, a sense of imagination that it is possible. And that will be the first part of all our journey, to explore ways of what is right for us and how to do it, how to come out, all those things. So yeah, I think as a community, let's get together. We should share, let's share our story. Let's support each other. Let's empower each other. Let's inspire each other. Let's have a discussion around what it's like being gay and being of people of color or people of a different culture. All right, that's me. Thank you so much for listening, watching this video right to the end. I really appreciate it, and see you later. Thank you.